I knew something was wrong the moment I heard the glass shatter. It wasn't the sound itself. God knows in this house noise was as common as cruelty. It was the way it broke. Sharp, panicked, as if someone had thrown it rather than dropped it. I froze in the hallway, my hands still damp from washing the toddler's bottles, and listened. A beat of silence. Then a hushed voice, his voice. "Are you insane? Not here." My heart jolted, a cold electric stab beneath my ribs. For 5 years, I had been the invisible backbone of this mansion. The nanny, the cook, the cleaner, the one who answered every bell, every tantrum, every demand. They paid me well but treated me like a ghost with hands. A servant, not a human. But I had never ever heard that tone in Daniel's voice. Fear. Desperation. Guilt. I moved closer, slow and silent, the way I'd learned to be in this house full of privilege and secrets. The voices were coming from the lounge. A door stood slightly ajar, the faint glow of the chandelier spilling into the corridor. Then I heard her. "Relax," a woman whispered. "Your wife doesn't even live here anymore." Not the wife, I thought, pulse racing. The girlfriend. I had never heard her voice before, but I could smell her perfume from here. Sharp and sugary, like someone trying too hard to be expensive. Daniel inhaled shakily. "We can't risk anything. The nanny is always lurking." My jaw tightened, not with anger, but with something deeper, something that had been building inside me for years. A tiredness, a heaviness, a quiet decision beginning to take shape. I leaned just close enough to see through the gap. She was seated on the edge of the marble counter, legs crossed, dress hiked up, lipstick smudged. Daniel stood between her knees, his hands trembling as he tried to fix his shirt. Their faces were flushed in that unmistakable way. My stomach twisted. Not from shock. Rich people's betrayals rarely surprised me, but from what I knew this would mean. For the children. For their mother, Elena, whom they had thrown out of this house like the trash from their designer kitchens. And for me, because I had seen enough in my life to know, where there's infidelity, there's rot. Where there's rot, there's danger. And where there's danger, a nanny always becomes collateral damage. The girlfriend giggled. "Relax. The kids are asleep. The old woman probably is too." Old woman. I was 55, not a teenager but not a ghost either. And I was done being spoken about as if I were furniture. My breath shuddered. Then Daniel stepped back, and his phone, left on the counter, lit up with a familiar name. "Elena." I watched the girlfriend's eyes narrow. "Still talking to her?" she snapped. "It's about the custody case," he muttered. "She wants more time with the kids." She scoffed. "Let her try. She'll never win. The judge will give you anything you ask for." And then she said something that made my blood run cold. "And once we're married, you know I'm not raising her brats." He didn't argue. Not even a little. A tremor passed through me. Rage, grief for the children, disgust. But mostly, resolve. Because in my apron pocket was my phone. And for the past 30 seconds it had been recording. Quiet as breath. Steady as justice. This could change everything. I slipped back into the hallway, heart slamming, fingers cold. My pulse throbbed in my ears, but my mind was clear, sharper than it had been in years. I walked straight to my small attic room, locked the door and played the audio back. Crystal clear. Their voices. Their admissions. Their contempt. Evidence. Evidence Elena could use. My breath hitched when I heard the girlfriend say, "Once we're married." So that was the plan. Replace the mother. Control the narrative. Win the kids. Destroy the woman who had built this house from love while her husband chipped away at her soul. My hand shook as I held the phone. I wasn't meant to care this much. I wasn't meant to meddle in the affairs of the rich. Nannies are supposed to observe, not intervene. Serve, not disrupt. But Elena, she wasn't like them. She had always treated me like a person. Brought me tea in winter. Asked about my back pain. Hugged me when my sister died and I couldn't afford a flight home for the funeral. She had thanked me for helping raise her children. And she had been cast aside like something disposable. No, not while I was still breathing. I couldn't sleep. Flashes of the children's faces kept rising in my mind. 8-year-old Lily, clingy and sensitive, who still whispered "Mama" in her sleep. And little Noah, only 4, who begged me to braid his hair, the way Mommy used to. They didn't deserve to lose her. And she didn't deserve to be erased. Around 1 a.m., the house finally settled into silence. Daniel and the girlfriend were in his room. The kids were asleep. The staff had retired. I unlocked my door and descended the creaking attic stairs, one slow step at a time. My hands were trembling again, not from fear, but from the finality of what I was about to do. I opened the front door, slipped into the cold night, and walked until the mansion disappeared behind me. Then I dialed her number. Elena answered on the 3rd ring. Her voice was brittle, exhausted. "Hello." I swallowed hard. "It's me," I whispered. I have to talk to you. It's urgent." There was a pause. A long one. Then a quiet trembling. What did he do now? My throat tightened. "It's not just him," I said. "It's worse. And you need to hear it from me." "Where are you?" she asked. "By the old bakery," I said. "Near the corner." "I'm coming." She didn't ask another question. She didn't need to. She knew. And part of her had always known. 15 minutes later, her silver car pulled up, headlights bright against the dark street. She stepped out, wrapped in a coat that was too thin for the cold. She looked older. Not in her face, but in her exhaustion. In the hollow under her eyes. In the weight she carried alone. When she saw me, she smiled faintly, but it wasn't the kind of smile that reaches the eyes. "Tell me," she whispered. So I did. Not all at once. Not like ripping a bandage. But slowly, gently, the way you speak to someone whose heart is already cracked. Her shoulders trembled as I described the scene. Her lips parted soundlessly when I mentioned marriage. And when I told her what the girlfriend said about brats, something inside her seemed to break. Finally, I pressed play on the recording. She listened without blinking, every second carving deeper lines of pain into her face. And when it ended, she breathed out a single shattering sob. "Why?" she whispered. "Why do people become like this?" I reached for her hand. "I don't know," I said softly. "But I know you deserve better. And your children deserve you." Then I placed my phone in her palm. "This is yours now." Her fingers tightened around it, trembling. Why are you doing this for me?" For a moment I couldn't speak. Then I told her the truth. "Because they treat me like a nobody." "But you never did." Her eyes filled with tears, slow, silent, devastating. She wiped them quickly, but her voice was steady when she finally spoke. This one changes everything. Custody. Alimony. His reputation. I can fight now." Her jaw tightened, and a fire lit behind her eyes. "He won't see this coming." A slow, razor-edged smile formed on her lips. For the first time, she didn't look broken. She looked ready. Elena didn't wait. The moment she slid back into her car, she was already dialing her lawyer. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steel. I watched her drive away, headlights slicing through the dark, and for the first time in years, I felt something unfamiliar. Not fear. Not exhaustion. Not helplessness. Purpose. But purpose comes with a cost. And mine arrived the next morning. The house of glass and lies. I woke before dawn, as I always did. The mansion was silent except for the hum of central heating and the refrigerator's occasional shudder. I moved through the kitchen preparing the children's breakfast, my every motion precise, mechanical, careful. My hands remembered routine, even while my mind replayed betrayal. By 6:30, the house began to stir. Daniel came down the marble stairs first, looking smugly refreshed, as if he hadn't torn his life apart the night before. He poured coffee, humming under his breath. He didn't say good morning. He never did. The girlfriend appeared moments later. Hair perfect, lips glossy, wearing expensive pajamas as if she lived here. She didn't say good morning either. She smirked instead. She walked past me, her perfume cutting the air like poison, and whispered just loud enough, "You missed a spot on the counter." I swallowed the urge to say I didn't miss anything, least of all last night. Instead, I nodded politely, handed the kids their breakfast, and kept my face neutral through the morning chaos. But inside, something dark was knitting itself together. Not revenge. Not anger. A final acceptance of what this house truly was. A cage with chandeliers. By 8 o'clock, the children were off to school. By 9 o'clock, the girlfriend was lounging on the patio, scrolling through her phone. By 10 o'clock, Daniel was in his office on a call. And by 11:00, the storm hit. The call that changed everything. Daniel's phone rang. Loud. Abrupt. Urgent. I was dusting the bookshelf nearby when I heard him answer. His voice dropped sharp and defensive. What do you mean new evidence? My blood chilled. She moved fast, I thought. Good. What recording? He snapped. Who gave her? He stopped. Silence. Then his chair scraped violently against the floor. What nanny? My hands froze around the feather duster. I heard footsteps, fast, hard, furious, and then Daniel burst out of his office, his face twisted in stunned rage. He stared at me. I stared back. And in that exact moment we both knew. He had lost control of the narrative. Give me your phone, he demanded, stepping closer. My throat tightened, but I lifted my chin. No. His face darkened. You think you can take my children away from me? I didn't take anything, I said quietly. You gave it away. His hand twitched. He wanted to grab my arm, I could see it, but years of wealthy image management held him back. He leaned in close, breath sour with panic. You have no idea what you've done. Oh, I whispered. I think I do. He stormed upstairs. Within minutes, the entire house vibrated with rage, shouts, slamming doors, hurried footsteps. The girlfriend appeared at the top of the staircase, pale with fury. What did you tell her? She hissed, pointing a trembling finger at me. Nothing you didn't say yourself. For a moment she looked genuinely terrified. Then the firing came. Not verbally. Not legally. Not in writing. But through a single command. Pack your things, Daniel said from the landing, his voice cold as polished stone. You're done here. He thought it would break me. But I only nodded. Because I had already done what I came to do. The exit. I packed slowly. Calmly. Methodically. Every folded shirt felt like closure. Every zipped bag felt like freedom. But when I reached for my coat, I heard soft footsteps behind me. Little footsteps. Are you leaving? Lily whispered from the doorway, her small hands gripping the frame. My breath caught. She didn't cry. She didn't complain. But her eyes, the same soft hazel as her mother, were glassy with confusion. Why? She asked. I kneeled and took her hands in mine. Sometimes grown-ups make choices that hurt other people, I said gently. But those choices are theirs, not yours. And not mine. Her chin trembled. Will you come back? I swallowed hard. I don't know. She threw her arms around my neck. Noah appeared next, toddling over and wrapping himself around my waist. And just for a moment I almost broke. Almost. But then I looked past them down the hall and saw their father watching with clenched teeth. Annoyed, not moved. That made leaving easier. I kissed the children's cheeks, stood, and walked out without looking back. The courtroom. 2 weeks later, I sat in the back row of the family courtroom, hands clasped in my lap. Elena sat at her lawyer's table, shoulders straight, expression focused but calm. She looked like a woman reborn. Daniel and the girlfriend sat across the aisle. She kept adjusting her hair. He kept failing to look confident. The judge entered. The gavel struck wood. The room settled into silence. Then the lawyer pressed play. My recording filled the courtroom. Every word. Every insult. Every admission. Every plan. Every piece of contempt for the children. The girlfriend's face drained of color. Daniel's jaw dropped. Whispers rippled through the audience. And Elena. She didn't smile. Not once. She just breathed slow, steady, victorious. When the recording ended, the judge leaned back, eyes hard. This is more than carelessness, she said. This is intent. Daniel's lawyer scrambled, stuttering excuses, claiming manipulation, context, fabrication. The judge wasn't buying it. The final ruling hit the room like a hammer. Full custody awarded to the mother. Gasps. A sharp inhale from Elena. A choked curse from Daniel. A shattered whimper from the girlfriend. And me? My eyes burned, but I kept them dry. Justice wasn't loud. It was quiet. Precise. Final. The twist. After the ruling, Elena stepped outside, her breath visible in the cold air. She spotted me leaning against a stone pillar and hurried toward me. Before I could speak, she grabbed my hands. "I don't know how to thank you," she whispered. "You don't need to." She shook her head. "No, I do." Then she took a deep breath. "I want you to work for me." I blinked. "Elena." No conditions. No mansion politics. No cruelty. You'll help with the kids. But more than that. She squeezed my hands tighter. "I want you to live with us." My heart thudded. "What?" "I'm buying a place," she said softly. "A home. A real one. For the kids. And for the woman who saved us." For a moment my vision blurred. "I don't want you to be their nanny," she added. "I want you to be their family." And then, a voice behind us. "That's perfect," Daniel snarled, storming toward us. "Let the traitor raise the brats. You two deserve each other." Elena turned slowly, and when she spoke, her voice was ice. "She's not the traitor," she said. "She's the witness who saved our children." He scoffed, stepping closer. And that's when Lily's small voice cut through the air. "Daddy, stop." We all turned. The children stood by the courthouse steps. Their teacher had brought them after the verdict. Lily stepped forward, eyes fierce. "We heard everything." Daniel froze. "We know what you said," she whispered. "About us. About Mom." Noah clung to her hand, his little face scrunched in confusion and hurt. "Don't come with us," Lily said, voice trembling but brave. "We want to go home with Mom. And her." She pointed at me. My breath hitched. Daniel staggered back as if struck. His mouth opened, 1,000 lies forming but none escaping. He turned away, defeated. And for the first time, the mansion, the money, the arrogance, none of it mattered. He had lost the one thing he couldn't buy. His children. A new home. 3 months later, Elena stood beside me in a small but warm kitchen. Sunlight pouring through new curtains. The smell of cinnamon drifted from the stove. The kids were coloring at the table. This house wasn't big. Wasn't fancy. Wasn't perfect. But it was ours. "Elena," I murmured, sliding plates onto the counter. "You didn't have to." "I did," she said gently. "Because you didn't just help me win." She touched my arm. "You helped me heal." I looked at her, truly looked, and saw a woman who had rebuilt herself from ashes. Stronger. Softer. Whole. She smiled. "So stay. As long as you want. As long as we need you." My throat tightened. This wasn't a job anymore. It was a family. My family.